All right, I think we're live. Welcome into Before Floor, an extension of 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. This is not Floor's Yours. I don't know what the hell this is. We got Heat Lakers coming up tonight at 8:30, big ABC game. Heat in the spotlight. We know at times that hasn't gone all so well. The Heat are coming off a win, though, against Sacramento. They're trying to salvage the road trip. I said before the road trip, I thought 3 and 4 would be acceptable. That's kind of what they're trending to right now. If you look at a loss to the Lakers and a win against the Thunder as possibilities, but we'll see if maybe they can steal one to make up for the fact that they probably should have had both the Warriors and the Clippers games. All right, let's get to our pregame show. See who's here. Alejandro Villegas, our producer, up there on the top left. We've got Greg Sylvander on his birthday. He's 89 years old. We've got Ricky J. Mark right next to him. And we've got Brady Hawk wearing Bam BP. I found this one. This is the Just Dog shirt. This reminds you a little bit of the finals when the Heat, kind of the apple of everybody's eye, Heat culture, all that. A lot has changed since. No Anthony Davis tonight. Before we get to tonight's game, I polled this. I was curious what you thought of Heat fan reaction to this. I said, if Dragic and Bam had been healthy during the finals last year, if they had been healthy, what would have been the result? So far, 30% same, 40% Lakers in 7, and 30% Heat win the series. Greg, how would it have gone?
I voted Lakers in 7, so that was how I went. I still feel like LeBron is LeBron, and Jimmy even said recently in an interview, LeBron always beats me when it counts. So I went Lakers in 7 in that scenario.
You know what's weird about that?
See, I'm not that big a homer.
Yeah, no, I get it. I probably would have said Lakers in 7 also. There's the poll. So what does it stand at now? There you go. 41% saying the Heat would win. I feel like if this was a non-Miami poll, if we polled this to people from outside Miami, they'd say probably 5% Heat would win, honestly, especially because there's a little bit of, after the fact stuff here because you're watching the Heat this year and you're saying, well, that team couldn't have beat that Lakers team, but maybe last year's team actually could have. Ricky, to get to it, I mean, Jimmy did mention that, but actually Jimmy has a winning record against LeBron in the regular season, which is interesting. I mean, he's played on some pretty good teams, the Chicago teams, played very well against LeBron's teams during the regular season. Of course, that one game, the David Blatt timeout game, if that goes a little bit differently and Blatt gets penalized for that, for calling the extra timeout that the officials supposedly didn't hear, then LeBron doesn't make that shot in the corner against the Bulls, and maybe LeBron never actually wins that title. So, I mean, Jimmy has had his moments against LeBron, tends to measure himself against him. What do you expect tonight, and how do you think last year would have gone?
Oh, no, I think the Lakers would have still won in 6. I mean, if we're being completely honest, Game 5 would have ended with the Lakers winning the title if Danny Green hits that wide-open three-pointer. So, I mean, the Lakers were far and away a better team. Miami's scrappiness and their willingness to compete and stay close, and Jimmy playing as a supernova kept it close. But at the end of the day, the better team won. And even if Miami had their full squad, LeBron would have just gone to another gear and it would have ended anyways. This is one of those where it's like, stay down, stop fighting. It's over.
Yeah. But I can see that. All right, let's transition. We'll get back to the Laker game later, but I know people in the comments want to ask about Boogie Cousins. Greg, you and I were talking on the string earlier today about the fact that the Heat would have interest, and I saw Tim Reynolds has reported same now. Again, not because of us. He had his own report from the AP. Shams reported that they're working towards a buyout possibility so he can go play for a contender to reward him. It's not because for the first time ever, it's not Boogie's bad behavior, right? It's actually his good behavior that's leading to this outcome. Why was it, and then we'll get to Brady on tonight's game, why is it that the Heat were not more interested last summer? Because not summer, but offseason, because we talked about him a lot.
It's a great question because the summer prior, they were very interested. So you'd have thought that would have came back around the mountain last offseason and it just didn't materialize. But I'm told that both parties, actually, it's not just Miami being interested. Boogie is interested in Miami as well. He and Jimmy are two players that I think from a competitive perspective, they've always been aligned. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy's in his ear to some degree to come down there and help them on the boards and do things as a big man. And where better place do you resurrect your career than Miami? So I don't know. I have a good feeling that this is going to be something that's explored pretty strongly.
I also think that, we talk about James Harden and sometimes being an issue. But again, James Harden was going to cost you everything. Boogie essentially cost you nothing. I mean, it's a flyer, Brady. How does he, let's just say that they were to add him, because I've always heard of his interest in them. I don't think there's any question about that. And obviously there's a Kentucky connection, et cetera, et cetera. This has gone way back. How does he fit? Like, would you see him as a bench player, or could you play him and Bam together for any significant amount of time?
Yeah, well, I think you can play with him with Bam, but if I was to say, I would expect them to probably still start Kelly, as much as that may, sit different with people. I think they'd probably roll with him off the bench, and then that just kind of cuts Precious out of the picture right now, and I think that's the way you'd go. But I think aside from the fit, that the one thing I've been saying is that Miami just needs a spark. And if there's anything that Cousins is going to bring to this team, it's a general spark for anybody. And as you mentioned, the relationship with Jimmy and different things like that. So I think it makes sense. And, obviously he's a defensive liability, but as I mentioned before, one player, even if they added a defensive guy, it doesn't fix defensive issues with current personnel. And yeah, I just think, the boards bring in another physical force that they're missing right now, because other than Jimmy, they don't have anybody that's pretty, physical, driving to the basket, and it's dominant. So I think it can help him in certain areas.
Greg's getting a chair instead of a walker. We'll have more on that soon. So that's coming soon on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So look for that. Also, I didn't mention we are of course, I don't have one. Well, I have them in the fridge. They're right over there. But Biscayne Bay Brewing. Make sure you check out the website. Find out where you can get it. Again, many Publixes here in South Florida. Also restaurants. I asked for it last night on Las Olas, and I actually found it. So make sure you ask for Biscayne Bay Brew. It's Biscayne Bay, the IPA, also the the Miami Pale Ale, and Alejandro is getting some right now. Is that what you're getting? There you go. You got it. There you go. The Marlins Lager. There you go. Also the sponsor of our Marlins Report. Brave prediction by our Chris Chase today that the Marlins are going to make the playoffs, which I don't know how they get out of 5th in that division, but that's a whole nother conversation. All right, let's stay with Brady here now. Let's talk about tonight. No Anthony Davis. As you mentioned, Olynyk's likely going to start again. We saw him play some pretty big minutes in the finals, actually. Some of that was by necessity because of Bam's situation. Do you expect any rotation changes against this team tonight?
No, not at all. I think the one change that we discussed is Max Strus, as we've been discussing lately. But as Eric Spoelstra just pointed out, the reason that he's going with Gabe over Max is just because of the ball handling side of things. So that's kind of where he's going. So I still expect him to probably play Gabe off the bench, obviously start Nunn and have Herro be the 6-man spark. So I don't think we're going to see many changes. I do think Bam's going to be needed, obviously, like every night, but with some certain matchups that we're going to see. And obviously we didn't see a lot of Bam in the finals, that I think there's areas there that we're going to want to see him attack.
Let me ask you about Gabe Vincent, Greg. I guess I don't see it. I've been looking for it, but I don't see it. I mean, he competes defensively. He doesn't really do anything particularly well as a ball handler, and the shooting hasn't really translated, with the exception of maybe a couple of games from what was in the G League. I mean, feels like Strus has moved ahead of him, even though he hasn't played as much lately. I mean, what do they see in him?
Yeah, I think that the Strus thing has a lot more to do with eligible games available to be played for the balance of the season.
No, actually, Greg, Ira, we'll have to check into that, because Ira actually clarified me on the show. So, he's very good on this point stuff. So I got these rules. He told me it doesn't matter if he's on the active roster with the team, it still counts. I'll have to look that up, but that's what he told me. So we have to check that. So that's why it was a little weird to me. The fact that we finally got an explanation, like Brady's talking about, that maybe it has to do with ball handling, because I thought that was the explanation too, but apparently it's not.
Interesting. Yeah, no. So Gabe Vincent, I feel like, has carved out at least the type of player that they trust enough to not make a bunch of mistakes. And he is at least a young player that they could potentially continue to develop, but I don't necessarily see the long-term fit. It's just a situation where I don't think that they look around the canvas of unsigned free agents and say that guy can play that much better than Gabe Vincent is doing what he's doing filling this role. And then he has the upside of being a younger player that has been in your system and in your developmental pipeline. So I think that that's ultimately where we're at with him. But I don't see him as a long-term core piece either. And I would expect that he and Silva are probably the first two on the chopping block in the event that they do make any additions.
Also, Isaiah Thomas is somebody who's been we've talked about a little bit. He's obviously represented by the same agent now that represents Jimmy, and there is a friendship there as well. He's also playing right now a little bit. We've seen him, and he looks kind of like himself, except not against the same competition. I've been told there may be interest there if the Goran injury takes longer. Here you go. Two-way contracts. Thank you, Alejandro. Two-way contracts allow NBA teams to carry 2 extra players in addition to the 15, rather than being limited to spending 55 days. Two-way players, as soon as this continues, will be eligible to be active for up to 50 of their team's 72 games. All right, so it's a little bit of both, I guess. Right? I don't know how many Strus, but Strus has been active. Right? Oh no, they kept him inactive last game, did they? We'll check. I'll have to look back on that. But essentially, I don't know. I just don't see the Gabe thing. I've been trying. Again, he competes defensively, but none gives you more. That's just the way it is right now. I want to get to you on this, Ricky. Again, some context here. Tyler Herro is younger. I know every time I throw Tyler and Dwayne's name into the same sentence, everybody on Twitter takes it the wrong way.
Yeah.
But literally, Tyler is younger than Dwayne Wade was when he played his first game for the Miami Heat. Just for context, okay? I'm not saying he's going to be Dwayne, but Dwayne hadn't even entered the league, and look at everything that Tyler has accomplished to this point. Mm-hmm. He's averaging 18, 6, and 4. I cannot remember a player in Heat history who got off to this kind of start. And literally, he's off to a better start than Bam was. Bam didn't contribute this much through his first 2 seasons, okay, and was older. Most of that was circumstantial because you had Hassan, but still, he hadn't contributed this much. And yet, it just seems like a lot of the Heat fan base is out on him already. They don't even want. Is this strictly a Harden thing? He's not Beal. He's not Harden.
Yeah, you know what it is? I think it's a matter of the grass looks greener on the other side. I think a lot of Heat fans might have this idea that Herro might have to be traded in order to bring in the big fish like a Beal or an Oladipo. I would imagine that if none of those guys were available, they'd be much more invested in a Tyler Herro. I mean, just look at all the hype that we've seen around KZ and the occasional Strus dunk or even Precious. There isn't Giannis is no longer available, so we're not talking about trading Precious for scraps. So I think it might have to do with a positional thing. I think we need to be very happy with the fact that Tyler Herro is producing the way that he is. I was certainly surprised when Miami drafted him. Honestly, I'll be upfront and say it. This is the second time, and with the first being Bam, where Miami drafted a player, and I was like, wait, really? And it turned out that they got it right. So yeah, I think we need to keep rolling with Herro unless one of these teams that we're about to deal with demands that he gets traded, and then we just keep it moving, like I mentioned yesterday on Onside Radio.
Yeah, Ricky, you and Nikias both, because Nikias didn't like either pick, and obviously both picks have worked out. And I go back historically. The Heat for years did not draft well, and I'm not saying they had a lot of high picks, but they drafted fine with Karan, but he kind of fell into their lap, right? Beasley was sort of, everybody thought they were supposed to take Beasley. They actually didn't want to take Beasley, so I don't really blame them for that one. Or they could look back and say it could have been Westbrook, could have been Brook Lopez, whatever. But at the time, Beasley was consensus. But there was about a 10-year period there where the Heat had picks in the 20s and didn't hit on a single one. Wayne Simeon, Tim James, Charles Smith, right?
Yeah, okay, so the thing with Wayne Simeon is that he was a bad boy in college, and it was a matter of circumstance, injury, and salmonella that just came together and pretty much ended his Heat career. And then he blew out his knee shortly thereafter, and that was it.
And then he became a pastor, so he had other things to do.
He also wasn't a cultural fit with that Heat team. Those Heat veterans. He wanted to live the straight and narrow life. I can understand that. And then a lot of those vets were like, hey, this is Miami. This is a city of sin. We got to behave accordingly. And he wasn't about that life. I respect it.
Throwing a pastor onto a team with Jason Williams, James Posey, Antoine Walker, Gary Payton, and Shaquille O'Neal is probably not the right team for you. But again, the point stands. For a team that drafted so poorly for so long to have hit on Bam and Herro and to still be frustrations with Bam about certain things. I understand that you want to be more aggressive, but also to treat Herro like he hasn't developed. I mean, literally, he's developed in virtually every way except Greg and Brady. I'll go to both of you guys on this. Brady, actually, I'll start with you because you just did a piece on it. You know, his shooting numbers are slightly down, but not significantly. And they've been coming up since he's been asked to handle the ball less.
Yeah, I think, and the 3-point numbers on his catch and shoot opportunities is not the issue. That I think, some people have been looking at that. It's actually the pull-up threes that have not been falling as much. But pull-up threes are, come from confidence. And I think we use the word confidence so much with Tyler Herro, but it's not an overstatement. You can just tell in his bounce when he's shooting pull-up threes. When they go in, he's just jumping much higher and he's just shooting them with confidence. So once those start dropping, his numbers will increase. The mid-range pull-ups he's shooting higher in those numbers. He's much more confident getting in those areas, like utilizing different moves in that area. And then obviously utilizing different ways to get to the rim, which, we're seeing the great touch he has when he's getting to the rim. But I think these losses that have been happening lately have not allowed us to really see what, and obviously the trades that he's getting thrown into, not really see his, evolving ways that have been happening lately. It needs to be noticed.
Yeah. This whole thing with Tyler Herro, people are getting absolutely batshit crazy, and it's super annoying. Like, this dude is averaging 17 points. He is it's on increased volume. I know that his percentages are not, where we'd like them to be from the 3-point perspective, but just thinking about him as a player and how much he is developing as quick as he is, there hasn't been a lot of guys that have done that. And I know we want him to be the third superstar to make this run and align with Jimmy. So maybe there's questions there, but there's no doubt that this dude is on the trajectory to be a star. I mean, how can anybody possibly argue against that? I just don't see it. I mean, he's been great.
I think there's a number of factors. I think you mentioned, obviously it's the trades. Okay. It's him, the turnovers early in the season. Although, as I pointed out to somebody, again, this is one of those narratives. Of their 6 primary ball handlers, Tyler Herro has the second best turnover rate behind Jimmy. Okay. He has a better turnover rate than Bam. He has a better turnover rate than Dragic, who's his worst of this group. He has a better turnover rate than Iguodala. He has a better turnover rate than none. Those are their 6 primary ball handlers. Okay. Point guards are not point guards. He's got the second best of that group. I think another part of this is, everybody's like the defense. Well, nobody cares about Trae Young's defense right now. He's going to be an all-star. I think that Herro's getting compared to the Currys and the Trae Youngs of the world. Like, you have to get to that level of scoring. He's not expected to do that on this team. Trae Young doesn't have a Jimmy and he doesn't have a Bam, okay, and some of these other players. I think it's gotten totally I think what's happened with Tyler Herro, and I said this on Onside Radio, I think what's happened is the hype got too big, and then it's the Tyler fans that people are annoyed at. It's not Tyler. I don't think there's a problem with Tyler. It's
who they won't trade him for.
Right, but it's the Tyler Herro stands, right? And so now there's a backlash against them where people feel like he's gotten too much credit, and now I think he's not getting enough credit. The other thing I want to mention, and I mentioned this on Onside also, you take a look at Duncan Robinson. Literally, what we're talking about here is 0.5 makes a game. He's got the same amount of attempts per 3 as last year, the exact same. It's 0.5 less on the makes. That is a fraction of difference. Literally 2 good weeks, okay, and he'll be back over 40%, and we won't be talking about it the same way. So I understand the concerns about playing Herro and Robinson together. I think to some ways that's a failed experiment in certain cases, particularly when you don't have Jimmy. The numbers are much worse, the 2 of them, when Jimmy's not on the floor, okay? But I think that both of them have gotten too much criticism. Last thing before we get to the picks for tonight, we've gone a little longer, but obviously it's Heat Lakers. The last thing before we get to the picks to tonight, All-Star. It appears to me like the Heat are not getting one. You think, Greg, they're going to get one, but every list that I see does not have either guy on it.
Yeah, maybe it's the record, and maybe I am. When is the last day that the votes are in?
I think it's next week, I believe.
Yeah, so I mean, if the Heat, pulled together a win on national TV tonight, Jimmy has another triple-double, maybe a coach, I mean, Jimmy and Bam are 2 of the top players in the conference, and I know that the record is going to come into play there. So, but I really think that they're going to get at least one, because they are the Miami Heat and they are in the mix there, at the bottom, of the playoff bracket. So hopefully they get at least one.
All right. Final
Yeah.
thing today, we're going to do this rapid fire here. The Heat over at MyBookie, you can use the code mybookie.ag. You can use the code 5 on the floor to get a bonus. Lakers are a 4-point favorite tonight. The last that I checked, I was a little surprised it's not more, but no AD and no Schroeder tonight. So they're a little bit, obviously, more than a little bit shorthanded. Those, you can argue those are two of their three best scorers. I mean, certainly it's one of their top two, and I think you could argue that Schroeder is their third. So what do we think tonight? Anybody going to pick the Heat tonight? No. Okay. All right.
It's
Next,
the Lakers. Let's. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. The Heat got this all day. Come
There
on,
it is.
bro.
3 and 4 trip, we'll be happy with that. If anybody wants the Cousins stuff, we did that a little bit early in the show, so make sure you check that out. PrizePicks.com, code 5. Anybody play it tonight? Greg, you got yours in yet?
Oh, yeah. I got a bunch of them in. I've shared them on the timeline. Go check there and find them. Lots of overs and unders. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so check it out. Use the code 5. Again, we're signing lots of people up. If you're baseball fans too, you're going to be able to play that out pretty soon. And I know some have gotten involved in the tennis and the soccer sides as well. Thanks everybody. Check out Brady's takeaways after the game. Alejandro going to stick around. Check out the new video from our guy 3-Piece Combo, Jonathan Ramlicon on the Good, Bad, and Ugly from Sacramento. Just posted. So if you want to catch up on what happened in that game, if you didn't see it, you can get that on the YouTube channel. And then as Alejandro says, we're going to play today's Eric Spoelstra pregame presser. Enjoy the game. Post-game pod with me, Greg, and I think Alex. We'll see. I'm not entirely sure. Post-game stream as well. Have a good night, guys.
Lakers in 5.
Get out of here.
All right. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. Now we're going to listen to Eric Spoelstra's press conference before the Lakers game, the Miami Heat Lakers game tonight. Of course, that's going to start here in about 30 minutes. So as we wait for that, let's listen to what Eric Spoelstra said here in a second. Give me a couple of minutes here while I can find the file and we can actually go to it and listen to it. Thank you for all your comments. Remember to go and visit prizepicks.com and, of course, make your picks for tonight's game against the Lakers. So, okay, I'm here finding it real quick. Give me a second. We have several post games. Okay, this one. Okay, here we go. Eric Spoelstra about tonight's game.
Hey, Coach, we will get started with Will Manso.
Hey, Coach, I've got a couple quick ones if you don't mind. Just as far as facing the team that you faced in the finals, you've been through this before, obviously, but what are the emotions for that as you get ready to face the Lakers, a team you just battled a few months ago?
I think each person internalizes that in a different way. Somebody asked me about that yesterday. In some ways, it feels like it was 2 weeks ago when we met them in the finals. In some ways, it feels like it was 2 years ago. So much has happened, since then for both teams. Look, we're trying to get to a different level as a basketball team right now. We have a great opportunity on this road trip, to take a big step forward. I think if you're a competitor, you want to play against great teams and the defending champs, and it would be a significant step forward, for us on this road trip to find a way to come out with a win.
Well, just to follow, you mentioned the road trip and the play of Jimmy Butler. I mean, we saw him in those finals in a way that was kind of like not that we hadn't seen a great Jimmy before, but the national spotlight in the NBA finals. But he just seems to keep getting better. What is he doing to just find a way to carry this team with 4 triple doubles in the last 5 games?
Whatever is necessary. He's facilitating a lot for us, so it's not, like you saw in the finals where he was scoring 40 a game for us. He and Bam are facilitating and creating opportunities, for our other guys, making the game easier, for them. And we're a much more dangerous team, to prepare for or to defend defensively when you have a lot of guys that, can ignite. I just think it's good for our team. What you saw, the other night, 3 guys scoring 20, almost 4 guys whose names are not Butler or Adebayo.
Next, we have Ira Winderman.
Eric, I think I know your answer here because he's sort of a cyborg, but could you have fathomed 7 years after he left the Miami Heat, LeBron James would still look like this?
I don't know if any of us could have or should have ever doubted that he would continue to reinvent himself. Look, he's set the bar right now for the entire league. And we are all faced with this challenge. It's an exhilarating challenge to try to figure out how to conquer one of his teams. You know, he does an incredible job. He's just a maestro in terms of controlling a game, and he does it on both ends. And it's a matter of grappling for control when you're facing, you know, one of his teams. And he's just a brilliant mind. He's always been a brilliant mind, but now with all the experiences, there's nothing he hasn't seen. You're not going to throw any kind of scheme that he hasn't, accounted for. I say it in the finals, he was making adjustments to our adjustments to the adjustments, and not making an adjustment to the adjustment. I thought about making an adjustment, but I bluffed the adjustment, and he knew I was making a bluff. By the end of the series, I had no idea what the adjustments were.
Well, you've just blown my mind. On a slightly lesser level, you've picked and chosen between Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, and Gabe's gotten the call in the recent games. What's the thought process on sort of what seems like at this point an either or with those two? Thank you.
I love our two-way guys and Max and Gabe. They're both plug and play guys, and that's unique. We still think they both have great upside, but we feel very comfortable playing them in where their minutes are significant, and we need production. You know, right now, I think we need a little bit more ball handling. You know, that's really just a decision, you know, right there. But I feel really comfortable with either one of them, depending on the context of the game.
Next we have Tim Reynolds.
Hi, Eric. You guys have always pointed to these long West Coast trips in the past as a chance to come together, even in normal times. Obviously, these being abnormal times, I'm sure that didn't hurt either. The trip is not over, of course, but how have you seen the group come together when it's just been you same guys around?
This is one of, I think, without a doubt, this is one of the best segments of the season for us. For the mere fact that we've had great meeting time, practice time, shoot around, walk through, all of it, where the majority of our team has been together. We've made big strides, I think, in the last 8-9 days of this trip. And we've dealt with some adversity, you know, together. I think that's always good for your group. And, you know, I say it feels like we're whole, and we're not, but just based on the context of everything, you know, we missed Gorn and Avery and Chris, you know, dearly, but this feels like we're whole and feels like we're making progress. But we got a big challenge tonight.
Next we have Melissa Rowland with Fox Sports.
Hey, Coach, have you ever seen another player with LeBron's ability to tweak his game to the unique needs of each team as effectively as LeBron does it? And what do you remember from the way he was able to do that back from the days when you used to coach him?
It's just a brilliant basketball player. He's a maestro. He can adapt to whatever the needs of that team is asking for. And, you know, for a player to have, you know, that kind of talent and be the best player in the game, but also willing to sacrifice and be an amoeba in many ways. I just think that's incredibly unique. He played, you know, different roles, you know, for us. He was, you know, had to be the best player on the planet. Other times he was a facilitator, making other people a lot better. Other times really, you know, being, I thought, one of the years a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. So he's the best player in the world for a reason.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was Eric Spoelstra today before the game. Miami Heat against the Los Angeles Lakers today, trying to get into another winning run here in the NBA. So we have a couple of messages here, but before we want to listen to what the guys said right after they won a couple of nights ago, and we're going to start with Bam Adebayo, I think, is going to be the first one. So give me a second here as we find them. Let's go and listen to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is going to be the first one here next on the Fire
Jimmy,
Reasons.
we'll get started with Anthony Chang.
Hey, Rach.
Hey, Jimmy.
What up?
How do you feel you guys, after the past 3 games, how do you feel you guys responded to that, that stretch of losses, especially with the way you guys started and the way you guys held on there when the Kings made a late run to cut the deficit to just 10 points in the fourth quarter?
I think we handled it well. We finally came out and did our job, which is to win. Always can be better. Still had quite a few mental lapses. But all in all, we won. And I'll tell you right now, we definitely take those.
And I was just asking Bam about this. You guys scored 70 paint points today. I think you guys scored 70 paint points also a few games ago. This recent uptick in points around the basket, is it just based on the guys, the defenses you're playing and what they're giving you, or is it something you guys saw in the film of maybe, you guys want to take advantage of more moving forward?
We just really make it a habit to try to get into the paint, drive and sprays, finish in the paint, get fouled. If not, get it out to your shooters for them to make a shot. I think with myself, with Bam, Tyler does a great job of it, K9. It makes it easy for a lot of guys to get into the paint.
Thank
you. Next, we have Ira Winderman.
Jimmy, Bam just told us, and I guess you were listening, that when the 23-point lead got down to 10, he got the guys in the huddle and said, "This can't happen again." What was that moment like when it sort of was teetering a little bit like it was last night?
I mean, it's the same thing over and over for us. It's like you get a lead, we're giving it up, we're getting lazy, we're messing around with the game. Good teams don't do that. And I think we're ways away from being a good team right now, not going to lie. We just got to keep taking steps in the right direction. And with those steps in the right direction, just find out a way to win games.
And then your next game is Saturday, national TV against the Lakers. On one hand, that was an incredible 2-month run that ended against them. On the other hand, it ended 2 games short of a championship. When you will see them again, which memories or what type of memories will come flooding back? Will it be of falling short, or will it be of sort of the band of brothers in 2 incredible, unexpected months?
I would say none of them. I don't think nobody's worried about what last year had and what happened. Yeah, we wanted to win. Yeah, they got a championship out of it. But this is a new year. Both teams got a different team. And, we're going to be locked in on just that day and who can get that win.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Next, we have Rachel Nichols.
Jimmy, is there anything, but I'm glad you found that. Did you find the hat? Did it fall off again?
I found it. Thank you.
Just checking. There you go. The younger guys on the team, Duncan, Tyler, even Bam, what sort of growth have you noticed with them from last year and going through that whole experience in the bubble, and what it taught them that you see them applying this year?
The fact that, you're not going to play great every single night. I think that's big. And they care to get better. Obviously, they want to play great every night. And then on top of that, they're adding to their game. Bam with the mid-range jump shots, Tyler's getting into the paint, making the right reads. Hell, Duncan's even being put in pick and rolls now. So I think as they watch the film, as they grow, they're constantly adding to their game, which is making them more harder to guard.
Are there times where you're passing the ball to Bam where you maybe wouldn't have last year, but because he's got that mid-range working better now, you feel more comfortable doing it?
I'm always passing it to Bam whenever he's open.
Yeah.
And hope that, he shoots a midi, a step back, get to the cup. I know with the ball in Bam's hand, something's good is going to happen. It definitely is. If he can't score, he's making sure somebody else can score or getting an offensive rebound. Good things are going to happen when Bam has the ball.
Thank you, sir. Good luck with that hat.
Thank you.
All right, Jimmy, that's it. Thank you, man.
That's it. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, girl. All right, now.
All right, everyone. That concludes tonight's availability.
All right, so that was Jimmy Butler a couple of nights ago. We already have the starting lineup for the Miami Heat tonight. It's the same one they've been using, same design. So here we go. Here you have it. Bam Adebayo, Kelly Olynyk, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, and Kendrick Nunn. That's the starting lineup for tonight for the Miami Heat against the Los Angeles Lakers in a almost the last game of this road trip out west. They're going to have to face the Oklahoma City Thunder on Monday as well. But for now, it's going to be the Lakers tonight, and it's on national TV. So let's enjoy this game brought to you, of course, by our friends by Biscayne Bay. So let's go back and now listen to Bam Adebayo. Let's hear from Bam Adebayo from a couple of nights ago after they beat the Sacramento Kings 1.
Hey, Bam, we'll get started with Ira Winderman.
Hey, Bam. Good to see you. Under these circumstances, especially, how encouraging or heartening was it that tonight, after you went up 23 in the third quarter and they cut the lead to 23, you guys made a stand, you pushed back up 20 and didn't allow sort of a repeat of some of the other times when the leads evaporated?
Hold on. We cut from 20. They cut the lead from 23 to 23.
23 to 10. Yes.
Okay. There you are. Now that makes sense. I was like, hold on. We just can't have those type of drop offs. And coach gets frustrated when that happens. So look at the film and figure out what we did wrong.
And so, I mean, was that a collective stand, do you think, by you guys that not again, not 2 nights in a row, that's not who we are?
Yeah, that can't happen 2 nights in a row. I mentioned it in the huddle. We can't have that happen like it happened last night. And, dudes responded by pushing the lead to 20 again.
And then as far as what you and Jimmy did, I know they're just numbers, but were you guys aware how close you were to those triple doubles? And the fact that you had a pretty sizable lead, was there some quote unquote going for the triple doubles, Jimmy to get his rebound, you to get your assists?
No, we was just out there playing for real. We're trying to get a win. I feel like the win mattered more than the numbers did. So, I'm glad we did the triple double thing again. But I'm really appreciative of the W.
And then finally, going into Saturday's game against the Lakers, what kind of memories does that bring back? That was an incredible run for 2 months. You guys were in the NBA Finals. I know there were the injuries. Does it bring back memories of a great run? Does it bring back memories of disappointment? What do you think the emotions will be when you see those guys for the first time again on Saturday? Thank you.
I don't know. Every time I see the Lakers, I think of we lost in the finals. So there you go.
All right, up next we have Anthony Chang.
Hey, Bam. I think 2 of the past 3 games, you guys have had 70 paint points, and then the other one you had over 50. That recent uptick in points around the basket, is that just based on how teams are playing you guys, on the opponents you guys have faced, or is it something you guys have seen maybe in the film where you guys want to take advantage of more often moving forward?
No, Jimmy Butler is doing a great job with getting in the paint and making plays for us. So, I feel like the drive is up because Jimmy Butler has the ball in his hand.
All right, Bam, looks like that's it. Thank you.
Black Lives Matter, people.
All right, that was Bam Adebayo nights ago. Thank you very much for all of you that are just getting here. Yes, the Miami Heat plays the Lakers in about 20 minutes, and we do have the start lineup for tonight. It's Bam Adebayo, Olynyk, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, and Kendrick Nunn, the same lineup they've been using in the last couple of games here in the trip they're doing out west. So let's read some of you guys' comments that are coming up here before we go and listen to somebody else here. Probably Tyler Herro. Bam didn't ignore Hassan. Your accent sounds like Filipino. Nope, not Filipino. Is this going to have the same game as well? Nope. Nope. I gotta pay. Yes, you gotta pay. The first quarter of game 1 was amazing. Ricky, you're not a basketball mind. Dragic was gone after that. Then Bam followed. Dragic was a nightmare in the pick and roll. Watch it again. Yes. I mean, it would have been a more even finals for sure. You see the game's at 8:30. Yes, the game starts at 8:30, but the NBA never starts on time, so it might go or start around 8:40. You know how they do. They won gold medal together, Jimmy and Boogie. Yes. All right, man. Okay, so let's go and let's keep listening to some of the Miami Heat guys here. And let's go with Tyler Herro. He's going to be the next one here on the Fire Reasons YouTube channel pregame show.
Hey, Tyler, we're going to get started with Anthony Chang.
Hey, Tyler, what did you like most about kind of the way you guys responded to the past 3 games and how the way you started the game and especially the way you finished the game to hold on there?
I thought we got off to a good start on both ends. The first 5 came out really, really well for us, and thought we came in and competed, got the job done tonight, and we thought we responded well to the last 3 games.
And you guys today with 70 paint points, I think you also scored 70 paint points a couple games ago as well. A lot of the paint points today came off of cuts. How much of that has been a counter to the way teams are playing the shooters on the roster? With trying to find space in the paint and taking advantage of the attention different guys are getting behind the 3-point line.
Yeah, I think they're really playing our shooters, like you said, to the 3-point shot, and a lot of our shooters are more than just shooters, so they're able to get into the lane and make plays and finish inside the paint. So teams always adjust to how they guard us, and we have to adjust to how they guard us game in and game out.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ira Winderman.
Tyler, going back to Anthony's first question there, yesterday, Golden State, you were up 19, 15 late in the fourth quarter, couldn't hold it off. How important was it for you guys? You got up 23 in the third. It was down to 10 going into the fourth, and then you guys made your stand and pushed it back up to 20. How important was it to do that the night after what happened against the Warriors?
It was very important. I think we just wanted to come away with a win tonight. No one in our locker room likes losing. So, tonight we just, really had to push through and, really hold it down to come out with the W tonight. But I feel like we still have some lapses and holes in our game that we need to, obviously, patch up and continue to improve on.
And then, of course, because this league never gets any easier, you go from this game to LeBron, the Lakers, and NBA Finals rematch. So how do you look at that game? I mean, do you think it'll rekindle memories of that incredibly special time in October? Or do you sort of look at it as, hey, it's the 6th game of the 7-game road trip, just get me home? What are your emotions going into that game, please?
I think it's just another game for us. Obviously, we need to come, out with a lot of energy and be able to, compete with them. I don't think they have AD, so we just need to take advantage of our opportunity. Try to finish this road trip up strong.
Thank you, Tyler.
Next, we have Rachel Nichols.
Hey, Tyler. What do you think you're better at this year than you were last season?
I think I just improved. Really in all areas, just try to improve. Offensively, being more consistent. Have the ball in my hands a little bit more this year, so just being able to make the right decisions. My teammates and coaches trust me, so just being able to follow through with that and still making strides defensively, trying to get better each and every day on that end of the floor.
When you talk about making the right decisions when you've got the ball in your hands, is that something that's just reps and experience actually out on the court? Or do you feel like the film work you put in is a significant part of that too?
Film work, reps and practice and walkthroughs and, just really reps in my head mentally, going through my right reads and making the right play. Continue to get better at that.
Is it something you find yourself thinking about just randomly when you're at home or in the grocery store?
Yeah, for sure. All day, live by the game. So just continue to think about that, really just throughout my day.
Thanks.
All right, Tyler, that's it. Thank you.
All right, that was Tyler Herro a couple of nights ago after they beat the Sacramento Kings. So for all of you that are just getting here, the starting lineup: Bam Adebayo, Kelly Olynyk, Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, and Kendrick Nunn. That's the starting lineup for tonight. So you guys can let us know here in the comments if you guys like it or not. If you guys think they should change the lineup, if they think Spoelstra should do anything different. So we have a couple of comments here. Schroeder playing tonight. Thomas Cook saying no, he's not playing tonight, so they don't have Anthony Davis either. We'll see if the Miami Heat can actually take advantage of that. It's been hard for them to actually go and take advantage of those teams that are not having their full roster available during this road trip out west. So Stephen Curry was taking out tonight's game against Charlotte. I had him with my prize picks tonight, so I guess I'm gonna have to do a different one. So if you guys are interested, go to prizepicks.com and use the promo code 5FIVE, and then you can get a 100% match on your deposit. So if you put $20 in, you get 40 to play. If you put 100, you get 200 to play. So there you go. Take advantage of that. Use the promo code 5FIVE, and that way you can earn a lot of money there and have fun while you do it. So thank you very much for joining us during the pregame show. We're gonna let you hear with our last video. I think we're gonna listen to Kelly Olynyk. That's gonna be the last one before we go and actually go watch the game, enjoy the game with you guys. So let's listen to Kelly Olynyk, and then we'll close it out for tonight. Thank you very much.
For this, huh?
Hey, Kelly, we will get started with Ira Winderman.
Kelly, is there a sense on certain nights that, hey, it's going to be my night, or I'm going to be able to make a big contribution? Is it when you hit a first shot early, when you just sort of feel some adrenaline? What sort of creates a night like tonight for you?
You're just kind of playing in the flow. Just how they're guarding. You're kind of taking what the defense gives you. Sometimes it's going to be your night, sometimes it's not. And you can't really predict it, honestly. Especially in today's game. You don't know what teams are trying to take away until you step on the floor. So, but when it happens, you can definitely sense it and know that you're gonna have to take advantage of those opportunities.
You've obviously played with some very complete players over your career. To play with guys like Bam and Jimmy, who are capable of triple doubles, let alone on the same night, what does that say about the completeness of those two as all around players? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's uncanny to obviously have a player that can go get a triple double any night of the season, and then to have two on the same team. I'm not sure that's something that every team has that luxury. For us though, we need them to do that right now. That's what we need, and we're welcoming that, and just kind of riding their coattails right now, and doing whatever we can to chip in.
Thank you.
Next we have Anthony Chang.
Hey, Kelly, tonight you guys had 70 paint points, a lot of points off of cuts. How much of that is a counter to how teams are playing your shooters and the space you guys have in the paint with the way defenses are playing you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. Obviously, shooters coming off, they're trying to stay attached, they switch out, and those are the kind of things you need is to cut and move without the ball and get easy stuff. Because if you don't, then you're making it really tough on yourselves. And obviously we have willing, great passers, and our guys who can really make those plays. And it's just about finishing at the rim then.
And it's been, I think, 4 months since the NBA Finals. You guys are obviously going to face the Lakers in a few days. Does it feel like it's been that long? Does it feel longer? I mean, it seems like a lot has happened in those 4 months, but it's kind of crazy that it's only been that span. Does it feel like a long time?
Yeah, it doesn't. It feels kind of like a blur. It feels, some days it feels like yesterday you were in the finals, and then other days you're like, man, I don't even remember the finals. It's like such a crazy time, and it's been such a crazy year. But obviously, we're looking forward to it. Just getting out on the floor and playing another game.
Next we have Rachel Nichols.
Hey, Kelly. Coach was just up there talking about how Bam has really grown as a leader this year, that he's talking more. What have you noticed? Is there anything specific that you remember that he's done that's sort of hearing his voice really helped?
Yeah, I think he cut out a bit there.
I'm
What's
sorry.
the last part?
Yep. Just that Coach Spoelstra was talking about Bam having grown as a leader this season. And he said one of the things he mentioned was him talking up more to you guys. I didn't know if there was any specific memory you had of him doing that or anything that you've noticed about him this season.
Yeah, you definitely, hear his voice now, a lot more, this year than in the past. And, he's grown into it. And, obviously we respect him and respect his voice. And, we know, what we need from him. And, he's kind of, out there directing this, kind of making sure that, everybody's moving in the right direction. And I think, obviously, we have UD and Jimmy, but, we need him to, to be a leader for us as well. When those guys aren't there, when those guys aren't on the court, he's out there. He's doing pretty much everything that the game asks of him. And, to hear his voice and to know that he's locked in and, like I said before, we're kind of just following his lead in a lot of things, whether it's offensively, defensively. And, you see a lot of that leadership in, his just demeanor and, his aggressiveness and, just how he's been preparing for, the game and the season and the year. You can really see him take leaps and bounds and, it's kind of unfolding under everybody's eyes.
That's cool to watch, right? I mean, is he pointing out specific things on the court? Oh, look for that, or stand here, that kind of thing? Or is it more just sort of like, hey, we got to keep our energy up, that kind of more big picture stuff?
No, I mean, he's everywhere. Obviously defensively, he's such a huge piece of our defense, being able to switch, onto anybody, guard 1 through 5, help side, block shots, whatever. So defensively, he's big, and he's making sure that he's he's holding everybody accountable, making sure that they're in the right spots, and then offensively, the ball goes through him a lot of possessions, and he's making sure that he lets guys know where he sees his openings, where he sees plays that he can make for other people, whether it's cuts, in terms of this game or kind of handoffs, threes, pin-ins, pick and rolls. He's kind of grown into that. And, it's good to see. And, he voices not only his opinions, but, to help kind of relay, the messages, from the top down.
All right. Thanks so much.
Next we have Mateo Mayorga.
Hi, Kelly. Speaking of one of your leaders, how much has this team missed the production and the presence in the locker room of Goran Dragic on this road trip?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've missed him a ton, ever since the beginning of the year. He was, unbelievable for us, in that playoff run last year. And, just when he's played this year, he just settles us down, makes plays, he's a vet, he knows how this game goes. And, he's someone that, we've definitely missed in a lot of areas. And, obviously we can't wait to get him back. But, he's someone that, kind of takes us over the top, especially coming off the bench in that second unit, to make sure that there's no drop-offs.
All right, thanks, Kelly. That's it. Appreciate it.
All right, that was Kelly Olynyk. So with that, we're going to close our pregame show tonight. Before we watch the Miami Heat facing the Los Angeles Lakers, the rematch from the 2020 NBA Finals that the Lakers won in 6 games a couple of months ago. So thank you very much for being with us today. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, to send super chats or leave your comments here if you want to give it a thumbs up. That helps us a lot to keep growing the YouTube channel and get to more of you Heat fans out there. So thank you very much for joining us. We're going to leave the live score, of course, here in that separate video. You're going to have it here in case you want to check it out. You can watch the game on ABC as well if you want to, if you don't have the Fox Sports regional here. So Owen Dawkins says Miami Heat won 27, LA Lakers won 18. They're going to need a lot of different games from a lot of different guys. So hopefully they can get those numbers up tonight. Owen, thank you for your comment. Jose Mato says, Alejandro, this is the day. Hopefully they if they win this one, they win the next one against Oklahoma. That's going to be a 3-game winning streak, and then they're going to come back home, and that could be the beginning of something here this season. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much again for being here for almost an hour in this pregame show. Of course, we're going to have a post-game show as well. So as soon as the game's over, we're going to be here with the post-game show hosted by our friend Royal Shepherd. Thank you very much again. Have a good night. Enjoy the game. And hopefully we'll see you soon after a Miami Heat win. Have a good one.